Sometimes love after 40 is less about butterflies and more about boundaries. Welcome back to Michael Speaks. Last week, in episode 4, we talked about healing over hustle. We talked about how your body isn't betraying you, it's communicating with you, about learning to stop pushing and start listening. Today, we're extending that same grace, but this time to the heart, because love, loss, and letting go after 40 is less about chasing what was and more about healing what still hurts. It's not about who left, but what you've learned. Let's talk about what it really means to rediscover yourself when love changes shape, when endings become invitations, and when you realize that closure isn't something you get, it's something you give yourself. I want to tell you about someone I know. Let's call her Grace. She got married young, full of plans, promise, and the kind of love that feels endless when you're in your 20s. But as life evolved, so did she. And the version of her that existed at 40 wasn't the same one who said I do at 24. The marriage didn't end with a fight, it ended with a silence. Two good people who had grown in different directions, holding on out of memory, not connection. When the divorce papers came, it wasn't just the marriage that ended, it was her identity. For months, Grace told me she kept busy. Projects, travel, gym, distractions. She was healing on the surface, but avoiding the deeper wound, the loss of who she used to be. Then one day, sitting alone with a cup of coffee, she realized, I've been waiting for someone to choose me again, when the truth is, I never stopped needing to choose myself. And that was her reset. Not the papers, not the therapy, not the next relationship, but the moment she started trusting her reflection again. Heartbreak in midlife hits differently, because by now you've built a world, a home, a routine, maybe even a reputation around someone else's presence. When that's gone, the silence can feel heavy. But silence isn't punishment, it's space. Space to breathe again, to grieve, to grow. You're not starting over from zero. You're starting again from wisdom. There's a peace that comes from no longer needing to prove that you're lovable, because you already are. Healing after heartbreak is less about forgetting the person and more about forgiving yourself for all the ways you tried to hold something that was no longer holding you. Rediscovery doesn't happen in a rush. It happens in moments. The first solo meal that doesn't feel lonely. The first night you sleep peacefully in your own bed. The first laugh that isn't tied to memory, but to now. That's rediscovery. When you remember you were whole long before anyone came along. You start to reconnect with your rhythms, your favorite songs, your quiet mornings, your unfiltered laughter. That's not selfishness. That's self-trust rebuilding itself piece by piece. Dating after 40 is an entirely different story. It's no longer about who looks best in pictures. It's about who feels safest in silence. It's not about perfection. It's about peace. You're no longer chasing chemistry. You're checking for character. You stop looking for someone to complete you because you realize you were never incomplete. You've learned that butterflies are nice, but boundaries are better. Because love after 40 is not about getting lost in someone. It's about finding someone you can stay found with. The hardest part about heartbreak isn't losing someone. It's losing trust in yourself. You start questioning your judgment, your worth, your intuition. But healing begins the moment you start believing that you can make good choices again. You may not control who leaves, but you always control how you rise. That's self-trust, the quiet confidence that no matter what happens next, you'll handle it with grace. Because the version of you that survived heartbreak is stronger than the version that fell in love.
Every great love teaches you something. Some loves teach patience, some teach forgiveness, some teach you that forever isn't about time, it's about impact. But all love, even the ones that end, remind you that you are capable of connection, growth, and courage. Love isn't meant to complete your life, it's meant to expand it. And sometimes, expansion looks like letting go. Months after her divorce, Grace met someone new. Not in a rush, not in a search, but in a season of peace. He wasn't the loudest person in the room, he was the calmest. He didn't try to fix her, he respected her. And she realized that love after heartbreak isn't meant to erase the past. It's meant to honor what it taught you. Sometimes you meet someone who doesn't promise to complete your story, but to read it with care. This week, I want you to take inventory, not of your relationships, but of your heart. Ask yourself, what have I learned about love that I no longer believe? What boundaries protect my peace? And what part of me am I finally ready to trust again? That's your love reset, not a goodbye, not a beginning, a becoming. Sometimes love after 40 isn't fireworks, it's freedom. It's learning that endings don't mean you failed, they mean you felt. And if you felt deeply, you've lived fully. So whether you're healing, rediscovering, or simply learning to breathe again, know this: you haven't lost your chance at love. You've gained your chance at truth. This is Michael Speaks, reminding you that letting go isn't the end of love, it's the beginning of self love.